Welcome to another episode of Epigram. Today we are in Puerto Rico. We came here for vacation, but we couldn't stop the podcast going every week. But today we have a bigger group, so let's see how it goes. We have our good friends from a long time, Gustavo and Paulina. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. It's vacation for you, not really for me.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Where's yours?
Yeah, I have no wine. Of course I have my wine.
Yo te presto el mío.
Salud.
Cheers with the bottle.
And they're drinking local rum from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So cheers to that.
With the bottle, guys.
Wow.
Salud.
So I usually drink for every podcast, but this is the first one that I have had like a few. Like we started this today, so you can see.
No
So,
excuses.
Let's see how it goes. So welcome, guys. My friends over here, they started a company. How many years ago now?
It'll be 7 in a couple of months, in about 3 months.
7 years. And of course, Paulina, you are Polaca.
I am Polaka. I'm from Poland.
Gustavo went to school with me in high school. You guys
And
met.
grade school too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys went to Fordham together.
Yeah.
Both of you studied business school?
No, I studied communications and media and did a minor in business.
Of course.
I'm international management and economics.
Okay. And you guys fall in love in school.
We
That's
did.
a story. That's a story.
Yeah.
We didn't really fall in love in school. We met about 2 weeks before graduating. So the falling in love happened a little bit afterwards, but we met right in the verge of graduating from college, which is really interesting, right? You don't think sometimes there's the love stories of meeting, the high school, and it happened sort of in a weird stage where we were both starting our professional careers, but then we thought it was too good to let go too quickly. So,
But something different and interesting, like all of my colleagues in Puerto Rico, like maybe all of you know, like economics haven't been doing that great, and a lot of people were leaving the country. And these guys did completely the opposite. While everybody was leaving, they came back. And they came with great ideas, with everything they study and their background, with a lot of like energy to do something different. And you guys started with the restaurant week idea, right? First of all, you guys are like in love with everything that is involved with culture and food,
and gastronomy, yeah.
Correct.
gastronomy and drinks too, of course.
Of
Of
course.
course, it's a part of it.
The food and beverage industry is always evolving, and there's no reason not to fall in love with it. I mean, every country, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Poland, has its own identity, its own culture, its own
Flavor.
particular evolution. You can start with, I'm sure, and we still have to go to Argentina,
We have to.
and I know your wines, but I'm sure that you have particular things that go back, centuries, and that have with time evolved and now become, like Fernet has, which is an Italian influence,
Yeah.
become part of the culture. Same thing here in Puerto Rico, and it's part of the interesting things of being in this world of food and gastronomy and beverage.
And something that I have to tell you guys, always behind the camera is my fiance Julieta. And today we have a lot of more people behind the camera, so now like this is the first time we are all involved on the front, so we're gonna do it all together. So Julieta. So man, like I wanna ask you quickly, you guys started with Restaurant Week. That's like the first thing that started with you guys. Like that's an idea that already you can see it in the US that it's a platform that works very well.
Right. It's an event that we went to in New York. We went to in Barcelona. I lived in Barcelona many years ago, and we were both working corporate jobs here, and then we were really unhappy working corporate jobs, and we said let's do something on our own. Let's just do it. And we didn't really have. We just kind of did it. There wasn't a structure. There wasn't that much of a plan. We just or really that much experience, right? In producing big events like that. But we said let's jump in. I think we're going to be happier doing that.
We had worked with some of the biggest producers in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
In doing conferences, exhibitions, concerts. Luis Miguel, Bodies the exhibition. We had managed some events. We didn't have
That's true.
zero experience.
But from the ground up by ourselves.
But by ourselves, it was the
Yeah.
first venture that we said, you know what, the 9 to 5 thing, not really our thing.
And it's not really 9 to 5. It's really 8 to 7, 8 to 8, and we were exhausted, and we just weren't really happy. And we love food. We had worked in food. I mean, prior to that, for several years, we worked in catering, worked in restaurants, hotels, hospitality, and we found that to be just a good opportunity to kind of go into the market. And there was nothing here that existed like that, and started knocking on doors, and here we are 7 years later with that event in
And
particular.
this is the 7th year of Restaurant Week
It
now?
just
Right, it
passed.
just happened in June.
And I can imagine, like, for example, like Julia and I, we have done like some artwork together, and every time we get a lot of more, we feel more confident.
Of course.
Every time we finish
Of course.
something. At the beginning, of course, I can imagine you guys were scared of like, what the hell
course.
we're doing? Are we
Is it gonna
actually doing
work?
well? Is it gonna work?
But I mean, it still happens now with different businesses, and it's okay to be scared, and it's normal, absolutely normal to be scared, because you're putting your name out there. You're maybe
Your time,
it's
your money, your effort.
maybe it's monetary investment. So you're always, I think, going to be scared. And I think a lot of people, a lot of friends that talk to us that want to leave corporate jobs, like, well, I'm so nervous, I'm afraid. And I'm like, well, that's normal, but do it.
To do it,
Do it.
yeah.
If you have that passion inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely agree. But don't necessarily do it the way we did it.
Okay.
A little bit of forethought. I mean, we jumped into it very fast.
Yeah.
We were in the corporate world for a couple. Paulina had a lot of internships. I had several internships in accounting, in economics. But for a lot of friends, I say, you know what? It's good to have that. The other day, I was watching one of the podcasts with your friend, the composer, and he was complaining about the corporate world. But there is value in getting some of the bases and building your network. I mean, that's something that whether you're in a creative field, any field, it's there's a big value. And now we've had to do sort of a reverse engineering of doing things, of jumping in there and then be like, oh wow, you know what? The first business plan we did was shit. Like we've had to go back and be like, okay, there's so many better ways to do things, and there's really the way that you keep growing your network, you keep seeing, and you keep just trying out new businesses. You say, it's really important to get that initial break into the business world before you jump in head first. And there's a pool. You can't probably see the pool, but there's a little jacuzzi here
there's
happening.
A pool right there waiting for us.
That was my analogy of
And
jumping
you
in the
jump
pool.
both at the same time, or was more of a progressive
No. It was
change of?
simultaneous.
It was which also made it a little bit harder, because we both quit our jobs, and
No steady income,
no
no
steady
benefits.
income. So maybe we wouldn't recommend that necessarily. It's nice to have a cushion, but that's how we did it.
I feel sometimes that's a good way to really go for it, because then it's not you stay on the comfort zone, or maybe it's not, you have to really bet everything to what you're doing, and that's what you have done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's no right way to do it. It just has to be what's right for you at the time. That was right for us at the time. And don't get me wrong, it was hard. We struggled, and this was us as a couple starting a relationship together, which isn't easy. Not everybody can do it, and it was not easy in the beginning. It was hard to divide your personal time and your
Relationship
and your relationship
with
time.
the business time is really, it's something that actually, it's funny that we're doing this whole dynamic. It sort of happened organically, but two couples, and you guys are doing projects together, installations, which I'm really proud of
So
and
proud
happy
and
with.
so excited what you're doing.
But you'll notice with time, it as soon as projects get bigger and there's more moving parts, it's really important, to be able to discern, okay, what are your roles, what are my roles, when can we talk about the stuff that is, money oriented, that is task oriented operations, when it's you and me, no, let's have a.
But I have to tell you something. You guys have not only a passion for food, you deal a lot with the culture of a country. And
Absolutely.
in this case, it's Puerto Rico.
You do.
You come from a different world.
I do.
And you arrive to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's a different place. Of course, it's easy to fall in love with the change of climate and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But sometimes I feel that you are more Puerto Rican than myself, because you really fall in love with the culture, the gastronomy, everything. You understand everything pretty well, because
Yeah.
you have the understanding of something that you grew up with, and now you learn it from a different kind of like perspective, a different way of living.
Right.
You grew up in New York.
Yes, I lived in New York many years.
Yes. So come to Puerto Rico, the speed of the people is very different. Like the answer behind people is very different. So, but from that, I can tell that there's a special passion behind first the restaurant week, the passion behind the culture of Puerto Rico, and then you guys took it to the next level and started your own company called Spoon Tours.
Yeah, so we started a culinary and culture company that that showcases the best of Puerto Rico through a culinary lens. So when people take our experiences, they not only learn about the dish that they're eating, but the history behind those ingredients, who brought those ingredients, how they've evolved over time. We talk about also modern day culture and the people behind the scenes as well. And you can
I think you're great on camera. I'm not really a fan of camera, so I'm just gonna let you do the job. Which is what happens most of the time. I'm behind the scenes, she's in front of the lens, so I'm very comfortable with her.
So not only the culture, but also the history. So all our tours. We have a variety of different experiences, but they also replace any sort of historical tour that you would want to do. So we create these kind of all-in-one immersive experiences where people learn about the food, the history, the culture. And also the beverages we talk about. For example, here we're drinking, Bacardi rum. So we talk about the Bacardi family, the process of how to make rum. When we talk about Mofongo, we talk about the plantains, which were brought here by the African slaves. So we talk about the African and also the Taino Indians and, the Corsicans that came from Corsica, right? The Italians that came from Corsica that brought coffee here to Puerto Rico. So there's a bunch of different elements that we incorporate.
That's awesome.
That's for Puerto Rico. We have other plans for the future.
So yeah, guys,
We're back.
I'm impressed actually for all the stuff that you have been evolving so quickly.
I'm not. I think we've done way too little.
You
Really?
think so?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't know if this is something that happens to you guys. And I'm not talking about your field, but just in general when you're creating. But my mind is always creating new ideas. And for me, ideas are the most important things. But finding the time, the resources, the way to manage everything else that you have going on, that's the hardest part. And I feel like, we've added some value, hopefully, to the island, to our team, to every visitor that's come. But there's so much more that we want to do, and just time doesn't come about. So now we're trying to focus on expanding what we've been doing in San Juan to other areas that really need to be showcased, that aren't as touristy, that are a little bit more obscure in the sense of it's more neighborhood, it's more real. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it feels small. It feels like we're not reaching enough. I don't know. It's just a self-criticism. I don't know.
Okay. I know that you guys are good managers. I can tell. Like you understand what you're doing and you're really good at organizing something to be successful. I know you guys are from different cultures too. Mm-hmm. Paulina, in your case, have you had thought of bringing something from your culture to Puerto Rico somehow? Because you have done so much about the Puerto Rican culture, the gastronomy over here, but something from the other side of the world and bring it somehow here with the energy and creativity that you guys already have done here.
That's excellent that you bring that up. But no, I actually haven't really thought of, like, you're talking about Poland, or you're talking about New York. Poland,
or New York, or whatever you feel passionate about. I'm just thinking about. Yeah. I think it's more about the passion that you have to do something.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Related to teach.
Yeah. Well, I think that the way that we operate and being good managers and has had a lot to do with my upbringing, has a lot to do about Poland, and also growing up in some place like New York that's such a high-paced environment where every summer I had a part-time job,
demanding,
and an internship and school, and that's what you did. So moving to an island like Puerto Rico that you mentioned in the beginning it's very slow-paced, but I don't work at a slow pace. So I think that has helped our business, just because I operate on a different level. I don't really operate on a chill Caribbean level, even though sometimes okay.
I will argue with the years. It's been now 11 years in Puerto Rico.
But business-wise,
No, yeah. But even business wise, you learn to sometimes say, hey,
Adapt.
I can't be as demanding when you're dealing with other businesses that have been doing a certain thing. You know, we're drinking a rum that's been in Puerto Rico since 1936, and they are a global company. But when you deal with the local partners and you're dealing at a more micro level, you can see how that culture level of like sometimes we're a little bit too pushy, and I think you have
I'm definitely known
let
as
down,
that kind of person.
Yeah.
I guess I think in the industry, like, but it's okay. I mean, that's how you get things done.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think that's tied you also to what you said of like, okay, my goals or whatever of expanding within the island or somewhere else. So it's in you. It's like
The drive.
your energy and your pace, which is take your company farther.
Yeah, for sure. I think that in my case, I did not plan. You know, I have a love for. I think this happens to anyone. I mean, you're from Argentina, you're living in DC, but you're from Puerto Rico. You're always gonna have a tie to your island. I did not plan to move back to Puerto Rico this quickly. I wanted to expand my roots around the world, not my roots, my branches around the world, and then come back to the roots. But it sort of happened serendipitously, and I'm very happy that it did. I'm very happy to be here, especially now after what's happened in recent months after Maria. It's giving us a new perspective, you know, and we're trying
And
now.
more of a drive, even more,
Way more drive.
than before.
We're now we're not just expanding within Puerto Rico. We're expanding outside, hiring local talent outside of Puerto Rico. We're doing a lot of really interesting stuff, but I think a lot of it has to do with having this passion for where you're from. And I think Puerto Rico, for being such a tiny dot in the middle of this planet, you know, this
Surrounded
blue
by water.
planet, we have a lot to offer. So I think that has sort of added energy to our passion. You know, that we have such an amazing island with not just great food, great people, but great geography, great history, great culture. So that
It's
really
an incredible place.
So yeah. So
It's-
going with that, 7 years. That's
7
a
years.
good number. Somehow people say so much about 7.
No, it's a great number. It's your favorite
Yeah,
number,
yeah, yeah.
actually.
it is.
So now with 7 years of doing what you have done, and you have
Yeah.
done it very successfully, even with very struggling moments
Right.
after the hurricane, and you guys survived.
The
you
Great
keep
Depression.
developing the economic problems that are all,
recession.
the recession
Yeah.
that everybody knows about. So what is next? Like, I know that you guys don't stop being like ambitious about developing ideas, new ways of rethinking stuff that you already are done between. The good thing about you guys compared to people that I know a lot of very talented people, but sometimes they don't have a strong passion. You don't have that problem. You have very
Yeah.
strong passions.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I want to ask you, like, what is next? Because I know that you don't stop thinking. You're not gonna get bored. You wanna, like, if it doesn't work, you travel somewhere else, or you go here, or blah blah. You don't stop. So,
It's true.
what really is like? Maybe I asked you this question today. Maybe a month from now, you told me a different answer.
Yeah.
But I would love to know what is your answer now.
We've been working on a couple of different things. I already mentioned the local expansion, which was sort of triggered by the events that happened in September 2017 after Hurricane Maria hit. You know, we were not sure. You know, we knew we had a strong brand. We've had, you know, over 10,000 clients that have been happy with our product, but we were not sure what was going to happen after. So after that happened, we said, you know what we need to do? We need to also focus on the people here. So we're developing experiences for the local clientele. That's one. Also, we decided, since we have something that clearly has been accepted by people from all over the world, why not take it to a more global stage, which is why we're expanding to New York City. Besides that, we've branched off food, gastronomy, culture is amazing, but it comes a point in your life, and I'm sure that I know that you guys have gone through it too, where you realize, okay, we have to, within what we know and what we do, we need to diversify. So we're now starting to say, what can we do outside of our niche that can create new things? So we're starting to do stuff in real estate, in cannabis, and in other industries that are somehow related because of the cultural aspects, our network, our passions.
I was just going to
So-
say that it's also industries that we're passionate about, because for us that's very important. Like, we're not going to go into something that we don't love,
in,
that we don't believe in, because
There's a lot of
why?
money out there.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had an internship in Wall Street, and that I could have right now have a net worth that was a lot bigger, and so could have you. I mean, I was working.
Well, I was
with,
going to go into the FBI, actually. Remember when they were going to try and recruit me?
but Paulina used to work with luxury brands, and
Yeah.
that could have led to a very comfortable lifestyle, great income. But if you don't really,
But I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I liked some aspects of it, but when I came home, I was not happy. I was tired and I was miserable. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I guess
Yeah.
we don't have too much more minutes of like recording.
that's
but,
not my fault.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will interview you guys. Like I think you guys are gonna be regulars.
I think we should.
That would
we
be
should-
awesome.
I want to add like
Hmm.
we don't only have like 4 people sitting here. We have like 20 more back there. If you hear them, they're screaming. They're coquis. Like that's the small like frogs that we have here in Puerto Rico. So you hear that in the recording. It's just sound for us.
It's about the
But-
hardest animal to find when you're trying, but they make a big noise, and I would compare them to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the
Puerto Rico.
official.
We might
they're
not
the
be big,
unofficial
but we
national
make
animal.
a good amount of noise.
Yeah.
Noise, not in the sense of an auditory level, but I love to compare that. I love the comparison of the coquí and Puerto Rico.
And it's something very cultural. It's something that people, and you could probably attest to that, when people move outside of the island, it's something that they really miss. That soothing song of the coquí. I mean, your aunt who lives in Mexico, when she first moved
For
to
40
Mexico,
years.
she would have a recording of
Yeah.
the
The coquí,
coquí
wow.
frog, and she
To
would
feel
put it
like she
on
was back
because
home.
it would remind her of home. So, yeah. They're just a big part of the culture, and they're really beloved by everyone here.
So I'm gonna open a question that I don't know if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna throw it out there. Like, you guys are the ones that actually like came back and put their heart to a country that other people think like there's nothing there to do. This is struggling. Puerto Rico is done. You know, like it's so unfortunate. Like all that.
We can't think that way.
So
Mm.
I see you guys even having the best opportunity you can get out there, but I'm pretty sure you guys can get the best job you want tomorrow in New York or DC, blah blah. But you want to stay here, and what you have done is I feel very like I don't know how you say orgulloso,
Proud.
proud of like
Right.
what you have done, because I struggle myself because I would love to be in my country,
Yeah.
but somehow I feel I struggle to my expertise to
Mhm.
bring it back in the energy that I want to. You
Well,
know?
it's different, different
So-
industries. I think that I hope that at some point you do, both of you come
Yeah.
back
That would be
Well,
incredible.
because we need more people doing amazing things here. And right now is a very I don't want to get political, so I'm not going to. I'll save this for another time. But the why, are you asking? What is the final question? Are you asking like
No, I'm not asking why. I'm more about like the audience hearing you out there to think like, hey guys, like this is the way we thought about it. You know, like I think I don't know. Really don't know. Like one of the cameras shut down, but we're gonna keep recording.
let's
Yeah.
do it?
What is actually like your
Our motivation?
your take for them? Like how you can give them an advice? Like, hey dudes, you know, like it's not like dudes don't do drugs, blah. No, just give them your take. You know, like what is should be like the driver that you guys have to keep going. You know.
Well, first I would say do drugs.
Okay.
Not don't do drugs. Under measure and natural and all that. But besides that, I think it's about finding opportunity in places where you can create a positive impact. Like for us, obviously there was a personal connection, family,
Yeah.
friends, and nature, nurture. But once we got here and we said, oh, the economy is fucked. But then we said, but there's ways of doing good in living, and having a profitable business, but also creating something. Because when we got here because we said, okay, we have jobs. Jobs aren't a problem. But then we were like, jobs aren't a mission. They are not a passion.
Yes.
We want to create something that actually goes further than that, that we can create our own experiences. In our case, we do experiences more than anything. Products, which is we're not going to cover now, but it's something that we're really focused on and are working on. But I think if I were to say something to someone is, whether it's Puerto Rico or anyone else, find what makes you passionate to create. Like find what makes you tweak, and you say, okay, you know what? I can find whether not what's wrong with this, but how I can make this more interesting, more appealing, better for other people. And I think that's what's happened here. The tourism industry has been a driver of the Puerto Rican economy for a long time. It's had a significant chunk of the GDP. But for us, it was, how can we do it differently? How can we focus outside of a pretty beach or the regular stuff? How can we create something that adds value in a different way? So, yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I want to keep recording,
I
but
know,
I
I
think
was-
all the cameras shut
We could
down.
be-
I want to keep drinking. So
Yeah. But guys, we're gonna keep drinking. But I will tell you, I love hanging out with my friends, and I have to keep I have to refill. But please follow us if you like what we're doing.
please.
On the description below, I will share all the information from Paulina and Gustavo, and from Spoon Tours and all the stuff they have been doing recently. And thank you again for joining us.
And thank you for having us. We really
Thank you, guys.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming, guys. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
Well,
Hasta la próxima.
cheers.
Hasta la próxima.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Julio,
everyone.
tu vaso.
Yes.
Salud.
Awesome.